Welcome to Opposition Territory here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. Love being in your ears. If you're watching on YouTube, yes, it's Jeff Warren here from the PST Podcast Show, and I'm with my guest this week from Lookout Landing, great SB Nation site, and she writes about the Seattle Mariners. And as folks know, who've been listening to this show for some time, in terms of my AL West team, and my AL team that I have rooted for ever since Ken Griffey Jr. was on the team, I root for the Seattle Mariners every now and again. So we have with us from Lookout Landing, Becca Weinberg. Becca, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. It's great to be able to talk about this team that I've been wanting to talk about now for many, many years. As I mentioned, they're my AL team that I root for. And, I think with this team, where they are at right now in the AL West, and as of us recording this, they are first. They are first in the AL West. But I'm wondering if we can start the discussion here, Becca, from an expectation standpoint at the beginning of the season, even during the preseason. How have the Mariners really surprised you, even surprised the fan base thus far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I saw like all the predictions at the beginning of the season that they were going to be a pretty solid contender, and I honestly did not believe most of them. I just with Donovan Solano kind of being like your prized offseason possession, like he's 37, like it doesn't just give you a ton of hope for like how they're going to progress throughout the season. But as like the playoff percentages and win percentages have continued to increase as the season goes on, I just like can't really ignore them now. So I'd say like I didn't have a ton of hope at the beginning of the season, but I've been really pleasantly surprised with how things are going so far. I think we've had some great players stepping up in big moments. The pitching generally has been lights out. The hits have been coming. I'm slowly, I'd say, seeing what other people started to see in the team, and I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic for the rest of the season.
Yeah, the pitching really has been. We're going to get into this in just a second here. The pitching has certainly been, like, I think beyond like the productivity level I initially thought it was going to be at the preseason. But then from an offensive standpoint, there certainly have been some struggles with the Mariners as well. We're going to get into that for sure. But, why don't we really start off with the pitching here? Because the starting pitching on this team, Brian Wu, I mean, he's having quite the year with his, 2.40 ERA, 60 strikeouts, 5 wins. Luis Castillo has an ERA of 3.32, which isn't too shabby either. Logan Gilbert, he's also leaving his mark in terms of his starts, even though he's only pitched a little over 30 innings or so at this point. How would you assess where the starting pitching is at here at the end of May, heading into June for this Mariners team, Becca?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been really impressed. I'll start by saying that like just missing 2 Cy Young candidates and still like being at the top of the division like definitely makes me hopeful. Especially once we have Gilbert and Kirby back, and then Wu, Castillo, Emerson Hancock, and now Logan Evans have all really stepped up in those absences. And now with Bryce Miller working on his injury as well, and a lot of people said like it was the best rotation in baseball last year, and I really
Yeah.
do believe that. And I know like the current numbers are a little skewed due to those absences of like many of our top pitchers, but I think the numbers aren't really too far behind once we get farther into the season, and I just I know that they'll continue to improve, and just being able to still like keep that spot at the top of the rotation while we're missing like a couple key contributors, I think that really just speaks to how well we've been doing so far.
Do you think that's more because of, the pitching coaches, or is it just kind of the veteran presence on this team to say we are in a certain moment and we need to step up here? What do you attribute that to? Like you said, the pitching, the starting pitching rotation is missing some key folks. How are they actually getting it done? I mean, is it just the veteran presence, or is it coaching? Is it another variable that we necessarily aren't thinking about?
Yeah, I think I'd say a mix of both. I mean, our pitching coach, Pete Woodworth, has been really amazing since he's been on the team. And I've seen like tons of videos just like on social media of the veteran presence like in action. Like there were a couple actually just from Logan Evans' start yesterday of like Cal talking to him before the game and making a game plan, and just Luis Castillo kind of like pushed him out of the to the front of the high five line. So when he was done with his start, like everyone would come to him first and high five him. And, yeah, it's been a great, like really welcoming attitude, it seems like, in the clubhouse. And so I think that's definitely also a key factor.
Yeah, I want to really also get into the bullpen and what that has been looking like. However, I want to make sure we get some promos out here for you. Lookoutlanding.com, folks. That's where you can go to get some great Mariners information on the team, some great content, great articles, great pieces that they're putting up there. Becca and her colleagues over there. Where can they find you on social media? Maybe some other outlets that you're writing for, Becca. Let everybody know.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Twitter is the main place to find me. It's just Becca_Weinberg. And then I also write for Circling Seattle Sports, another really great site in Seattle. I cover for them the Seattle Reign, our women's professional soccer team, and then our two professional ultimate frisbee teams, which is really fun to cover as well.
All right. Very good. Very good. Again, Becca_Weinberg, folks. She's a great, great follow over there on Twitter/X. I do like how you called it Twitter because, like, I'm just not calling it X. I'm
Yeah,
calling it Twitter
I
slash
can't do
X.
it.
I know. I love how
Yeah.
you're. Yeah, forget this X crap. It's just crap. I don't care if that's officially the company's name or not. It will always be Twitter to me. So,
Yes, I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
moving over to the bullpen here. Andre Munoz, I mean, he already has 17 saves on the season. Matt Brash, he's been tremendous coming out of the bullpen as well. I think he's got like a 1.1676 whip, which is the best of his career this year. Let's get into some positives and negatives about this bullpen. I mean, let's start with some of the positives here, Becca. What have you been seeing with this team in terms of positives coming out of the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Munoz has been, like, absolutely lights out. He still
Yeah.
has not, like, put up an earned run all season, so that's been, like, pretty incredible to see. He's just always been someone the team can, like, really depend on in the high leverage situations, and then, Brash has been another great addition. I think they're still a little wary about, like, overuse with him because he just came back, but, he's
I was going
just
to ask
always
you about
been.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, just from what I've seen and like read, I think that's what is kind of happening right now. But he's always been a consistent addition to the bullpen, and I think he'll continue to be like his use will continue to be ramped up throughout the season. I just think right now they're being a little careful. But I mean, yeah, I think with those two, like they're really two pitchers you can rely on in all the like important situations that they're put in.
Yeah, I think so too. But in terms of, if we do a 180 here and we talk about the negatives for this bullpen, nothing in Major League Baseball is perfect. And certainly no bullpen is perfect. What are your thoughts in terms of the negatives that you've seen thus far this season coming out of the bullpen for the Mariners?
Yeah, I would say just, inconsistencies in, like, both performance and personnel, like, there's just been a lot of changes throughout the year with people coming and going. Um, I think I wouldn't say I have, like, confidence in every single person in there to, like, hold a slim lead if they're put in that situation. And some people, like they have before, but then they'll be put in that situation again, and they will blow a, like, one-run lead or something, so,
Yeah.
but I will say, like, they have got us to where we are now, so, I hope to see them continue improving as well. I think that's just the main thing is kind of those little, like, inconsistencies that you see pop up.
I think when I watch the games that I have been able to watch every now and again with the Mariners, and I look at the bullpen, sometimes it reminds me of the Philadelphia Phillies, who we look at and cover here at the PST podcast show, where sometimes I feel like they're trying to throw something against the wall, see what sticks. I feel like we get that every now and again from this Mariners bullpen as well. Do you get that feeling too?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. I think I've seen that in definitely previous seasons and a little bit this season as well.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, as we're moving along with the conversation here, wanted to talk about the offense. So let's move into that area of this Mariners team. They've had some hot bats, of course, this season, but like right out of the gate. I mean, this team was like, I was like, oh my God, nobody's gonna stop this team at all. But then they have certainly had some challenges as of late, Becca, and especially against the Astros in the recent series with them. Jorge Polanco was one of the hottest hitters in March and April in Major League Baseball. Now he's one of the coldest hitters in MLB. Are the hitting challenges they've been having more because of injuries, streaky play, maybe some regression, maybe a combination of a few of these variables here. What are your thoughts on why we've seen the Mariners having these type of offensive challenges that they've been having as of late?
Yeah, I mean, like the season is long, like everyone goes on streaks, everyone
Yes.
has slumps. It's just kind of how the game works. And so
Yep.
I obviously was like I was really excited to see Polanco's hot start. I don't think anybody was expecting that. But I'm also like I wouldn't say I'm super worried about where he's at now. I mean, Cal is leading the AL in home runs. Julio's kind of more finding his stride now. I think many of the lineups like key contributors are doing really well. And our new hitting coach Kevin Seitzer. He's come in with this new philosophy of kind of like an aggressive approach, but also this emphasis on just like keeping it simple and just like really focusing on those like few things that you need to do up at the plate. And so I think, the lineups in that aspect, the lineups do look much better than last season, in my opinion. I think the recent challenges could be due to like a variety of those factors that you said. But as long as they kind of continue on that path that Seitzer's been kind of laying out for them and like focusing on those like simple, important aspects. I think hopefully there will be some more hit streaks to come.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope for sure. But you mentioned something that I want to follow up on because I think it's interesting when I'm watching the majority of baseball games that I watch as a Phillies fan, and I watch this Phillies team. I mean, if you follow Major League Baseball and you understand some of the rosters here and there on different teams, the Phillies, they are a power hitting team. I mean, they're not about playing small ball, but sometimes I feel like the Mariners are. And sometimes I think there's a place for that in Major League Baseball these days, where it's not all about the launch angle. It's not all about how many home runs they're going to be able to hit, and not if just home runs are going to be the end all be all to winning games from an offensive perspective. I have a feeling the games I've seen with the Mariners and following them this season, it's not just about the home runs. It's about, like you said, getting on base, making sure that small ball is being played every now and again. I'll take a single every now and again from certain guys that need to get going, that have been streaky, that need to get their offense in gear. I don't know. Do you see small ball being played a little bit more with this Mariners team this season? And if that's good for this team overall?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say definitely like especially when you have like the heart of the lineup that we do. I think that like the rest of the lineup's job is just to get on base. And then like you kind of have those the people who can hit home runs to kind of like carry you through that. But I think kind of like the expectation for the rest of the lineup is like your job is to get on base.
Yep.
So I've definitely seen that this season. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, folks, we're talking to Becca Weinberg from lookoutlanding.com, great SB Nation site that focuses on the Seattle Mariners team that we're talking about here. So let's get into now the biggest strengths and weaknesses here on this Mariners team. As it pertains really to the batting here, we've kind of talked about it from an offensive standpoint already here, but in your analysis from what you have seen thus far, Becca, let's start with the biggest strengths on this team. What is that when it pertains to the batting on this team?
Yeah, I think I may have like answered this in one of your previous questions, but I think just like adapting to that new approach. They're now with this completely new hitting coach, kind of like transitioning away from the problems from last season. Their strikeout rate is way down. I actually wrote down this tweet I saw that they were in at the beginning of the month of May. They ranked second in the AL in home runs, stolen bases, walks, and WRC plus since August 1st of 2024.
Wow.
So I think the plate discipline just has really improved and is a big part of like why they've been doing so well throughout the season. And I think it definitely goes back to this new philosophy that they're trying to implement.
All right. From a hitting perspective, in terms of the weaknesses on this team and how they may actually need to address it, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think I might have also said this, but I think just like the much of the lineup is like so dependent on the heart of the order. So like Cal, Julio, Randy Rosarena, and like maybe sometimes JP Crawford. That's just where a good of the amount of offensive production comes from.
Yeah.
And so like it's not always easy to rely on the rest of the group. Even like we said, like when you need people to get on base, like you can't always rely on everyone in that lineup. So I think I don't know the way to address it probably would have been in the offseason, to get another batter too. But I don't think there's too much reason to panic just yet. They still have one of the top 10 offenses in baseball, even like with their current production and like those players who were hot but now are not, like, they're still up there. So I think just kind of like continuing to buy in and hopefully seeing the new kind of like hitting philosophy continue to show up throughout the season.
All right, very good. I was wondering if you were going to mention one JP Crawford, who came
Yeah.
from the Phillies farm system, and I'm actually wearing the Lehigh Valley
Oh, that's
Iron
awesome.
Pigs yes shirt, which is
Nice.
about 12 minutes down the road from where I live. I saw JP Crawford in Iron Pigs gear in AAA so many times during the course of his career as he was coming up and developing. I love that you mentioned JP Crawford. Absolutely love that, Becca. So before I let you go here, my friend, I really want to just kind of get into more of an overall topic and discussion with you as we're closing things out here about how this team is going to be competing the rest of the season. And it seems to me they're just going to be competing with the Astros to see who is going to go and remain at the top of the AL West. I mean, I think we may see possibly some back and forth here and there, depending on wins and losses in the future, how these teams look after the All-Star break as well. So my question to you is, what do the Mariners need to do to continue remaining at the top of the AL West? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I will say just for one, I wouldn't count out the Raiders just yet. They kind
Okay.
of,
All right.
yeah,
Sounds
I
good.
don't know. I wouldn't count them out yet, but with the Astros specifically, I mean, we saw like the strengths of their bullpen this series. I think they had like 3 runs allowed in like 16 and a third innings or something. So like
Yeah.
they really locked us down, and I I think the key to that is just like getting on the board early, and just like getting those early runs. Like we've been doing pretty well with that throughout the season. I think we just got really shut down that series. But I think in general, just kind of like continuing to utilize just like the depth of our roster and just like I think that's going to be the key to staying on top. I think like I said at the beginning, like leading the division right now with like many key contributors that are missing, like or even like not performing to their potential, like those early hitters that we had who are now cooling down a little bit. I think it definitely makes me optimistic to see how the rest of the season could go, just based off of that so far.
All right, very good. Again, folks, she is Becca Weinberg from lookoutlanding.com, great SB Nation site. My friend, it was great having you on. I loved our discussion here about the Seattle Mariners. Appreciate you coming on our Opposition Territory pod. I'd love to talk to you at some point down the road.
Yeah, thanks so much. This was really fun.